Hello and welcome to FitPros Live. You are in store for an educational and engaging session. Your instructor is live and able to answer questions that you drop in the chat. And we encourage you to respectfully interact with one another. Check your company's well-being portal for more live sessions this week. We are a community of wellness warriors. Now let's slay the day.
Awesome. Welcome to FitPros Live. I'm so excited to be with you today. We are having a really important topic today, mindful nutrition choices. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and we are going to jump right into this. What I would encourage you to do today is to really think about how nutrition might be affecting your life and some changes that you might like to see. Because I feel like time is just the currency of the day. And so I want this to be a really useful time for you. How is nutrition affecting your day-to-day health? That's what I would love for you to contemplate on today as we get started. Look at this gal. How do you think she fueled her body this morning? She is just killing it. She's probably doing awesome things at her job, and she's just being really effective in her life, even had time for a workout either before work or after work. Just really the essence of what it feels like to be properly fueled. And this is how you feel when your body is fully nourished. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, we feel more like this gal. Oh my gosh, just exhausted, probably ran through a drive-through on the way to work or just kind of grabbed whatever was handy, not being super mindful about our nutrition choices. And unfortunately, sometimes this is what happens if we're not intentional. And so today we want to learn some really key ways to get intentional about how we fuel our body. Now, food as medicine, I'm going to go into that a little bit because food is the most powerful medicine that we have access to. And so we're going to just talk about that a little bit and how to incorporate some really great foods into your diet every day. We're also going to be talking about kind of putting the plan into action, getting the train on the track. So it's one thing to have all this great information, but what we really want to do is make sure that we are implementing all of these great tools. And so that we're going to focus some on that. I'm going to bring you some cutting edge kind of science as well behind like different ways of farming and agriculture and things like that I think you're going to find really, really interesting. But first of all, think about these questions. So are you number one, the guy in the top, just killing it with food prep every week, doing awesome? Maybe you're number two, searching on Instagram and Pinterest and those other platforms just for interesting meals to cook and ways to do things that would be healthier. Or maybe you're just kind of like number three guy, like, hello, going out to eat all the time, doing DoorDash, all that kind of stuff. So which one are you today? Maybe take a little inventory of where you think you are, or if you're somewhere else, let me know. Well, why should you be listening to me anyway? Let me introduce myself to you. I'm Suzy Destarac. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I've actually worked in the field of whole food nutrition for the last almost 21 years. And I have three daughters. So if nothing else, I'm a mom. My youngest is 18 years old. So they've all survived all of my nutritional experiments and are thriving in their life. I also really am involved in the conversation around cancer and how nutrition can affect cancer therapy. So I'm really excited about some of the changes that hopefully will be coming in the way of changes as far as cancer treatments are concerned. So when you look at this picture, what do you think? Can you find some of these great foods on the picture that maybe you have that you like to eat, or maybe that you would be inspired to consume? Plant power is a real thing. So we don't need to be completely plant-based. Like we don't have to cut out all meats and everything else besides plants. However, we really want to focus on having a plant strong diet. We want to include just a variety of colors, and we'll go into that a little bit more and how to get that in. But kind of take a look at this picture. All of the different colors and nutrients, there's actually over 25,000 known phytonutrients in plants. So phytonutrients basically just mean plant chemicals, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, fiber, all of the things that we find in the plant kingdom that are beneficial to our body. So just kind of an interesting thought there. I'm going to leave this up just for a second. So maybe you can identify like 3 things, drop them in the chat that you want to try or you love in this picture, or maybe some that are not in the picture. I'd like to mention a little bit more about the phytochemicals or the phytonutrients. They're not just there to support our health. The reason why the plants have these amazingly powerful chemicals are because it's for the plant's own protection. So when the plant comes up against stress or is cut or anything like that, it enacts all of these phytochemicals or phytonutrients to help itself. So they are also extremely beneficial to our health, and that's why we want to get a full spectrum of them. Did you know that inside your body is your own personal pharmacy? So your body has the ability to make its own medicine. And the pharmacy inside your body is open 24 hours and it's free. So it gets created through our endothelium, which is basically one of the largest organs in our entire body. So our endothelium is the lining of all of our blood vessels, and that is where these little tiny medicine bottles, if you want to picture them that way, reside inside our body. The way we turn it on is through our diet and through our lifestyle. So by getting our heart rate pumping for at least 20 minutes a day, that helps to get the blood rushing over the medicine bottles and pops them open so that they can be released into our bloodstream. The other way is through food, through our diet and our gut chemistry. About 80% of our immune system and our neurochemicals, so like all of the transmitters that go off in our brain to tell us what to do, are created in our gut. And that is so important, where food comes in to help us make our own medicine in a great way. But let's just get back to a couple of basics here. So I love the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. You can go to the Harvard School of Public Health for a lot more information on this if you want to dive a little bit deeper. But what do you notice in this? What do you notice about the amount of plants that are supposed to be on our plate at every meal and every time we eat? You might be noticing that it's about half, actually half of what we eat is recommended to be plants, so fruits and vegetables. We also want to be hydrated with water. We want to have a diet rich in whole grains that are really going to be clean and healthy for us, and also provide that fiber that's really good for our gut chemistry, and healthy protein that can come in the form of vegetarian protein or animal protein. We also want to see the healthy oils up there. So it's important. We don't want to have a no-fat diet or even a low-fat diet. 60% of our brain is actually fat. So we're kind of fat heads. So we need to feed our fat head, and we need to have the right kind of oils in our diets. We're going to talk about that today as well. The other thing that I want to bring up here, so current research that we're seeing is that the diversity of plants is as important as the quantity or the serving sizes of plants. So having mixed berries, for instance, maybe some blueberries, some blackberries, some cherries, some cranberries, having a little bit of a lot is going to be as important as the amount of serving sizes we have. So we always want to go for diversity. So here is a really simple formula to remember what you can do. I know you can do this. First of all, you want to go green. You want to eat a variety of organic greens. All the different types of greens, they all have a little bit different nutrient profile. You might notice they have a little different taste. Arugula tastes a lot different than romaine. So when we put them all together, that's when we get the maximum benefit. Number 2, we want to go blue. So we want to eat a wide variety of organic berries and grapes. This is our richest way that we get antioxidants. We really want to do that. And then we want to go nuts. Sometimes people avoid eating nuts because they have a higher fat content. The trick is, so you want to have, if you hold the palm of your hand, that inside little palm part is about an ounce. That's the amount of nuts that you want to have. You want to have about 1 ounce serving a day of raw, unsalted seeds and nuts. The raw and unsalted is going to maximize the nutritional benefit of those and minimize the processing. So really want to try and work towards the raw and unsalted. And then the fourth thing is we want to go to the sea. Well, what if you don't like seafood? You're saying, I don't eat fish. Well, that's okay. The reason we want to go to the sea is to get the omega-3. Omega-3 fatty acids are essential to our health. It means our body has to have them, but we can't make them ourselves. So we have to get them from food. Well, traditionally, we hear about want to eat wild caught Pacific salmon, which is a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. Interestingly enough, fish don't make omega-3 either. They get it from their food. They get it from the algae and other sea vegetables. There's a lot of plants that actually have omega-3, and there's a full range of omega fatty acids as well. So you can get seaweed is a great source of omega-3, flax seeds, chia seeds, those are all great sources. And there's more plant sources as well. Also having 2 6-ounce servings a week of fresh wild caught salmon, Pacific salmon preferably, is going to give you the amount of omega-3 that you need. So let me show you some ways to get all of these great foods in. The first one is salads. Why are salads so great? Why do I love them so much? It's a wonderful way to take care of yourself. They save you time. You can make like a few salad in a jars at the beginning of the week and have them in the refrigerator. They're so beautiful, you can't resist eating them. And it's a way to get a wide range of plants in your diet. So it really saves time, that precious commodity of time. The next one is the sipping solution, smoothies. Smoothies are a fantastic way to get a lot of these nutrients, especially the greens and blues that we talked about. You can add a little nut butter in there. You can add a little algae in there, and you'll have an amazing power-packed breakfast, midday snack, dinner if you want to have a light dinner. I love to do those. Also, I want to just bust a myth here for you. So sometimes I get the question, what about frozen versus fresh, all of that kind of stuff. Smoothies are a fantastic way to add in a bunch of extra nutrients in there. Frozen is a great way to go. I like to get organic frozen. They're picked at the peak of ripeness and flash frozen. So in a lot of ways, it's actually more beneficial to get the frozen organic produce than it is to get the ones that have been picked before they're completely ripe and transported to your market. One important thing to mention as well is fruits and vegetables get most of their nutrition the last days ripening on the vine. So when we pre-pick our fruits and vegetables and then they get transported all over the world before they get to us, we actually lose quite a bit of nutrition. So frozen is a great way to go. And in your smoothie, you can also pulverize and disguise all kinds of things. If you're a picky eater or if you're preparing food for a picky eater, you can sneak in all sorts of extra things that maybe people wouldn't want to regularly eat. So that's my little secret for you there today. So the seafood, we already pretty much talked about that. Having wild-caught Pacific salmon or another fatty fish is going to be a great source of those healthy fats, those healthy brain fats that we talked about. And also algae, flax seeds, omega-3, or I'm sorry, chia seeds are great sources as well. So now let's just move another bit into flavor elements. So sometimes we opt for going out and getting food out because we want that flavor. We want to have all the great, wonderful flavors of the ethnic foods that we like to enjoy. And we don't really quite know how to duplicate that. So I like to talk about flavor elements of and what these different ones are. There's actually 6. There's spicy, salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and umami. Umami is that savory one. It's kind of like fermented foods, fermented cheeses, things that are usually rendered fat or something like that, that really give you a big punch of flavor. You have about 10,000 taste buds, and those taste buds are just waiting to have a rendezvous for in your mouth with all of the different flavor enhancements that you can add. A quick trick to think about when you're adding flavor and you're wanting to flavor something up, mixing 3 flavor elements together is a great way. That's kind of like a magic ingredient that just makes your recipe pop. So give that one a try. Maybe like an example, we're going to talk about some examples in the recipes that we'll talk about, but like peanut sauce, for instance, you can put a little spice in there. You've got the peanut butter that's giving you like that kind of earthy flavor, maybe a little sweet there. And then you can put some soy sauce with it or coconut aminos, and that's going to give you that umami flavor. So great way to add some interest to your different meals so that they don't become boring. So let's talk about a way to fit in some of these foods that we've been talking about, other than the smoothies and the salads, but just realistically, how to get a power-packed meal and day of meals into your life. So for breakfast, for instance, you might add some of those chia seeds and flax seeds into a smoothie. That's a great thing to do. Having hard-boiled eggs is a really powerful breakfast. You're getting a lot of protein and healthy fats in there. Cherries, blueberries, other berries, again, putting those all into a smoothie or maybe a fruit salad is a great way to go, like a yogurt parfait. That would be really good. Try adding in some green tea to your life. Maybe you're a coffee drinker, that's fine. I don't want to take your coffee away from you, but try adding a little bit of organic green tea. That's one of the biggest sources of antioxidants that you can add. My only tip there would be I personally cannot do green tea afternoon. It will absolutely keep me awake. So I like to have my green tea before noon. And don't steep your green tea too much. When you steep it too much, it gets that real bitter taste. So just about 3 to 5 minutes is going to be how long you want to steep it. Then snacks. Snacks is a great way where we can just capitalize and take advantage of sneaking in some really healthy, nutritiously dense foods into our diet. This is where we can get a nice trail mix going of some different raw seeds and nuts, and also have like an apple, an organic apple. If you don't like red apples, maybe try some green ones. There's different ones. I do recommend going organic. An organic bag of apples and a raw bag of nuts is my go-to. I always have it in my car. It's like the best fast food you could possibly have. Edamame is another really great snack. It's very filling. It's got healthy fats, isoflavones, a lot of fiber in there. And it also carries a lot of protein with it. So that's a wonderful snack if you haven't done it. You can put a little pink sea salt or Himalayan salt on the top, maybe some spices, and you're set to go. That is awesome. And then for your meals, we talked about the salmon and the wild caught fatty fishes. Also adding broccoli and sweet potatoes. That is a wonderful source of some more nutrients. And I wanted to talk about this number that I just saw on broccoli. Let me find it here really quick. 2 cups of broccoli a week can reduce your cancer risk. So can we get 2 cups of broccoli in? Can we maybe put it in some casseroles, put it with our eggs, whatever we need to do, put it in our salads. Let's get the broccoli in, those cruciferous vegetables. Think of crunch. So like cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, cabbage. Those cruciferous foods, they have this compound in there called sulforaphane. Sounds a little wacky, but it's an amazing cancer fighter. It actually kills cancer cells in your body. So definitely want to be adding those cruciferous vegetables like broccoli into our diet every day, if possible. Let's review. We've talked about a lot here. We talked about food being medicine. We talked about that a lot. The 5S diet: spices, smoothies, seafood, salads, and smart supplementation. And then creating time. So doing some of the preps, like the salad prep, maybe prepping some food so that you'll have leftovers during the week. That's going to create time for you and save you money. So let's plan a little bit here. How do we do this planning? First of all, take an inventory of what is in your fridge and your pantry already, so that we don't have to completely buy a whole new set of groceries. Also, that really helps us to reduce waste. So about 40% of waste of food in our kitchen gets wasted. It gets thrown away, and that's the third largest contributor to greenhouse gases. So we want to really plan out and see what's in our pantry. Let's see how this is going to play out for us by what's in our pantry. That's going to be the first thing. And then think about, what is a time of day that is really challenging for you? Is there a time of day where you're just tempted to go to the vending machine, or tempted to run through a drive-through? Maybe it's dinner, maybe it's first thing in the morning, or a pickup in the afternoon. Thinking about that and knowing what your habits are is going to help you to maybe find some other solutions that are going to be better for you, better for the environment, and better all the way around. And then think about, when is there a period of time, like maybe 2-3 hours? A lot of times for me, it's on a Sunday, but if that's an evening during the week, or on a day off during the week where you can do that, just reserving that little time block to kind of be mindful about what it is that you want to cook this week. What is your schedule kind of looking like, and all of those things. And then finally, an accountability tool. Accountability is really where the rubber meets the road. We can learn all of this stuff, but if we don't put it into action and actually get it done, it's not going to ultimately affect our health, right? So is there an accountability tool? Some of the accountability tools that I like, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you'd like. This is just my little planner that I put together for meals. I've got place on here also for snacks, as you can see. And it's not that you have to fill out this whole thing. You can fill out a couple of days, like I'm going to cook on Monday, I'm going to cook on Thursday, and then we're going to have leftovers for lunch, and all of these things. So this might be a handy template. Another one that I really like, there's some great tracking apps, like MyFitnessPal is a free one. That is a great one. I recommend that all the time. I think they have a really robust, like just log of different library of different foods and restaurants and things like that. So I really like that one. But you can also just take out a piece of paper and jot these things down. You don't have to have any kind of big fancy thing, but being mindful about what our week is going to look like, or even a couple of days. If a week is too much to do, you can do a couple of days. If you want more than a week, you can map out your entire month. You can do a lot of batching and freezing. That's a great idea. But one of the things that I like to talk about is how these planning tools like this can really help us to put savings into our HSA, our health savings account. Because as we meal prep and get mindful about what we're eating, we're actually saving. We have time to plan and save those meals for later on in the week. And that's basically your health savings account, as far as I'm concerned. So let's talk about some actual recipes and actual ideas. I'm going to give you a lot of visuals here. So start with a super breakfast. Even if you're intermittent fasting and maybe you're not eating your first meal until a little later in the day, that's okay. Make it a healthy one. Make it a powerful one. Nobody ever started their energized day with a donut. I guarantee you. I don't think there's anybody that just said, I had that donut and then, wow, the rest of my day went great. I ate so healthy. So you want to start your day with a really healthy meal. And I like to think of PFF. That stands for protein, fat, and fiber. I'm not saying that you can't have carbs. We just really want to balance the carbs out with the protein and the fat and the fiber. As when we just have carbs without those things, that would be like a donut. Our blood sugar goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes up and down, and we kind of go on this roller coaster throughout the day. And when we're on that roller coaster, like when you're down here, that's the moron zone. That's where you just want to eat candy and more donuts. So we really want to keep our blood sugar nice and steady, because when it's nice and steady, our mood is steady, our energy is steady, our focus is strong, we're better drivers, we're just better humans all the way around. So one way that you can do that is by getting protein, fat, and fiber, and breakfast is a great way to do it. Overnight oats are a really fun way to meal prep. breakfast, or you can use them as a snack later on in the day, whenever you want. The basic recipe for this is going to be 1/3 cup of rolled oats. So the old-fashioned oats. Don't get the quick cooking oats. It's going to get really mushy if you do that. I don't know what happens in the processing. It says that it has the same amount of fiber, but it just gets really mushy. So get the old-fashioned ones. And then you want to do 2/3 cup of plant milk, an unsweetened plant milk. If you like dairy, use an organic dairy. That's fine as well. I tend to like to go towards the plant milks myself. And then I usually put in a tablespoon of nut butter, like almond butter, cashew butter, peanut butter. Get the kind that doesn't have the hydrogenated oil and the extra sugar. And I will even put in like a tablespoon of chia seeds or flax seeds in there, just to get that extra omega-3 and fiber going into my body. And then I usually stir in some, I have a bowl of blueberries here, but you can use mixed berries for more variety. And those will save for you. I just mix them up, put them in a little container. I usually make a few of them at a time. They freeze really well also. Hard-boiled eggs are another really good go-to for breakfast and snacks. They're very handy. And when you get your eggs, go for the pasture raised. That's going to be your, well, obviously if you have chickens and you can get, fresh, farm fresh chickens, that farm fresh eggs, that's the best. But for most of us, that's not the case. So pasture raised on your poultry is going to be your best choice. That's where your chickens are happy. They're outside grazing on grass and bugs and things that they should be getting the nutrients in that they should be. The next one is going to be no antibiotics or hormones added ever. For all of your animal products, we want to not ever have hormones or antibiotics added to them. And then snacks. So we talked about snacks. Snacks are so important when we want to keep that blood sugar steady, and then also just kind of keep us away from the vending machines and the drive-throughs. Even if it's a drive-through in the pantry, you can always dig up something that's not ideal for yourself there. So there's a great rule of twos, and that is eat twice as often. So we want to eat more meals, like include the snacks. We want to eat half as much at each meal. So not have as big of servings in each meal. And then we want to chew twice as long. This mastication in our mouth actually starts the digestion process and really helps. And it helps us to feel satiated, because it takes a little while for the food and the nutrients to actually get into our bloodstream, get the message to our brain that we're full. So here's some pictures of some of my favorite snacks. I've got some protein power balls in the back there. That's made with, I like to use the Juice Plus Complete protein powder. It's a vegan protein powder. If you are using protein powders, I really recommend going to get the vegetarian ones and not the whey-based ones. You can make it right in the middle there. You're going to see hummus. If you've never made hummus yourself, it is so easy, so inexpensive, and it tastes a million times better than store-bought hummus. You can have all kinds of different stir-ins to it. I love making my own hummus, and a veggie tray. So I just take bits and pieces that I have in my fridge, chop them up, have them as a snack. It's kind of my graze tray during the day. And of course, I've got my smoothie there. And then don't forget to add in your delights, your desserts that you really want to have. Don't deprive yourself. When we go towards that feeling of like these foods are bad and we can't have them, it tends to not work for most people long term. So include the sweet treats if that's what you like, or the salty treats if that's what you like. There's ways to make them healthier. These are my pumpkin dark chocolate chip cookies, and I use monk fruit as the sweetener instead of regular sugar. Monk fruit sweetener is a great way. It's a perfect substitute for your baked items because it's 1-to-1 amount with sugar. So that's just one idea. But remember to build in your snacks and build in your treats, whatever that is that you enjoy. Then for weeknight meals, Again, that whole idea of cooking once and serving it more times. So putting into your health savings account by planning your meals a little bit. Batching and freezing with soups or marinades. If you have food, meats or tofu, tempeh, things that you want to have in a nice marinade with all of those spices that we talked about. Batching your food and then freezing them makes it so handy for later on a weeknight and you need to pull something out and you've already got it in your freezer. It's really great. For those squashes or soups and stews that you might be thinking about making, some great bases for those are going to be your squashes, especially like butternut, acorn squash. Those are really good ones. Pumpkin is a wonderful one, and you can even get canned pumpkin. Also, chicken stock or potato and leek, those are some really great bases that then you can add to for your soups and stews. But yeah, just mainly we want to make sure that every time we're cooking, we're going to have more than just that one serving, even if it's just a snack. This is a really fun one. This is a power bowl. So really rich in protein here. I actually made this out of just some little things that I had left over in my fridge. Half of a carrot, I had part of a baked beet and some sweet potato, some edamame that you can see there. I had a little bit of quinoa, some cauliflower. I've got my greens in there as well and a little bit of chicken. The way that you can spice these things up, I don't know if you can see it really good in this picture, but the peanut sauce that I talked about earlier, you can make that. Or if you wanted to go a different ethnic variation, you could do like more of a salsa or something along those lines. So there's always ways to change these up. I could take this exact bowl and I could turn it into something more Mediterranean if I wanted to with the sauce that I used in it. And then I just want to talk a little bit about beans, dried beans and rice. That is such a money saver. It's also a time saver, believe it or not, because it's really easy to make a big batch of these, like at the beginning of the week. So very inexpensive. I like to tell the story of my abuela. She always said you just have to soak the black beans overnight and then you have to cook them twice as long as it says on the package. So never believe the packages on there. Always soak your beans overnight. We'll abide by grandma's rules there. But black beans, if you're starting out on your beans and legumes, black beans and lentils are going to be a great place to start. Lentils you don't have to soak overnight. They cook very quickly, very easy starting place there. And then the black beans, dried black beans are pretty easy as well. You can cook them in about 2 to 4 hours, even though the package says like 30 minutes. Definitely takes about 2 hours though. So I like to mention that. And then you can also see on the right-hand side, this taco. So tacos aren't just for Tuesdays, guys. They are for all of the time. You can dress it up with a more healthy fats like that avocado that I've got on there. A little lime is going to be good. I actually have some ground turkey on this one too, and some baked sweet potatoes. So this is an amazing way to just get some inexpensive favorites in. I think my taco would beat a street taco any day of the week. And I want to just talk a little bit about regenerative farming. So, we have an issue here in our world. We have an issue that our soil is being depleted, our environment is really suffering, and our health is suffering too. And regenerative farming is a concept that is just a great way to protect our soil, to protect animal life, and like our pollinators and all of those things. It conserves water. It's actually very profitable for farmers. There's kind of myths out there that regenerative farming is that we have to have this big industrial farming because the farmers can't afford it. And the truth is, it actually protects the land. It protects so many things, and it is very doable. So I encourage you to kind of look into that a little bit if you haven't before. It's some really interesting concepts there about regenerative farming. And it really reduces the impact that our food has on the earth. There's some other ways to be mindful about your food and about your just lifestyle is taking breaks throughout the day. So allowing yourself time to kind of restore yourself, get back into kind of being centered so that you can be making these mindful choices that we talked about today. So just doing a few minutes of meditation can be very helpful. And in fact, even we always think of meditation as having our eyes closed and being in private, but there are ways to practice mindfulness even in the midst of like a meeting and where you just really need to center yourself. One of the sources that I love to send my clients to is Positive Intelligence. So that website has a lot of really great techniques that you can do in any setting. But getting, hopefully we can carve out some time to just get away a little bit, be mindful with our health. Having a little break in the day, if we can even take a 5-minute walk outside, even if it's walking to your car, just looking up at the sky, noticing what's around you, noticing kind of what might be moving around you. Well, maybe it's an insect, and then you can just follow that. These kinds of techniques actually take us back to where we can be in that mindful place and just be thoughtful about what we're eating, how we're treating our body, how we're acting in relationship, and all of those things. Of course, I like to mention exercise as well. A 20-minute high intensity interval training workout can do it can just do marvelous things for bringing you back to being centered, being in your best energy. And it really stimulates us to want to make these healthier choices. Kind of like what we talked about in the very beginning about helping your body make its own medicine. We can do that by having these mindfulness breaks and just making sure that we're able to be mindful. So are you hungry for more? What is one takeaway that you got from today? Let's make this not just an interesting health talk, but something where you actually can make a difference. And I believe that by really kind of just being mindful and thinking about what is something that you want to do, that you actually want to take action on. Maybe it wasn't even anything that I said. Maybe it was. Maybe it's pulverize and disguise or add in flavors like umami, things like that. What would be the benefit to you if you were to become more mindful about your nutrition choices? How would that impact your overall health, maybe your mood, your relationships, your time, your money, all of those things? It's amazing how food impacts us. Well, thank you so much for your time. We do have some time for Q&A. I'll be checking the chat, so please put those in there. And here's a few of the resources that I used today. I hope that this was a valuable time for you, and let's definitely keep in touch. You can email me and reach out for more recipes or just to connect for health coaching as well. My website, Shine Health Collective, also has some really fun resources on there as far as eating, meal plans, things like that. Thank you so much, FitPros Live community. It has been an absolute honor to be with you again today, and I hope that this has been impactful for you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.